Okay, so when you think of English Renaissance theater, one name just completely dominates, right? Shakespeare, of course. But what if I told you there was another playwright working at the very same time who was an absolute giant of the London stage, but today he's almost completely forgotten? Well, his name was Thomas Heywood.
And when I say he was a giant, I'm not kidding. Get this. Heywood himself claimed he had a hand in writing over 200 plays. Just to put that into perspective, that is more than 5 times Shakespeare's entire surviving collection. It's a staggering, almost unbelievable number. The man was a creative machine.
Which, brings us to the big question here. If he was that prolific, that popular in his own time, why on earth has Thomas Heywood pretty much vanished from our collective memory while his rivals became legends? Well, the answer, it turns out, is tied up in the very thing that made him so special.
You see, Heywood's biggest innovation, his real game changer, was something we now call domestic tragedy. He basically looked at the genre of tragedy, which was always about kings and queens and epic battles, and he said, what if we brought all that drama into the homes of regular people?
And this is the fundamental difference. While Shakespeare and others were setting their tragedies in castles and royal courts, Heywood was setting his in kitchens and bedrooms. He wasn't writing about epic revenge plots. He was writing about the breakdown of a marriage, about cheating, about the tough moral choices that people you could actually know might face. He made tragedy relatable.
And if you want the perfect example of this in action, you have to look at his masterpiece, A Woman Killed with Kindness. It was written around 1603, and honestly, this play is the one that really cements his whole contribution to English drama.
So, the story is all about a wife named Anne and the absolute devastation that follows after she has an affair. But, and this is the key, it's not some bloody revenge story. Not at all. Instead, the whole play just dives deep into the emotional chaos of it all, for both her and her husband. It's this incredibly human story about trust, forgiveness, and all the pressures of society.
And that's what made this play so totally radical for its time. It was a huge departure from the typical revenge plots everyone was used to. The husband, instead of killing his wife and her lover, actually forgives her. This focus on mercy, on the internal emotional world, instead of just external violence, was absolutely revolutionary.
But hey, don't get the idea that Heywood was some one-trick pony who only wrote these intense domestic dramas. While he basically invented that genre, his range as a playwright was incredibly wide. He really knew how to write for the crowds, no matter what they were in the mood for.
I mean, check this out. He wrote a swashbuckling romantic adventure called The Fair Maid of the West. That was a massive hit. He wrote The Four Prentices of London, which was basically a love letter to the city's working class. And he even wrote comedies about going abroad, like The English Traveler. This guy could do it all, and that's why people loved him.
So, let's circle back to our original question. If he were so popular, so versatile, what is his legacy? And why did he get left in the dust, historically speaking?
When you boil it down, Heywood's work is like a time capsule. Because he wrote about ordinary people, his plays give us this incredibly rare window into the daily lives and anxieties of folks in early modern England. We get to see life beyond the castle walls. But ironically, that might be exactly why he was forgotten. His focus on the everyday, while it's super popular back then, probably seemed less epic and timeless to later generations than Shakespeare's stories about kings and queens.
Heywood's story is just a powerful reminder that the names we all know aren't the whole story. History is just filled with these brilliant, groundbreaking voices that got overshadowed for one reason or another. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, how many other great artists are out there just waiting to be rediscovered in the footnotes.